Welcome, everybody. We are, all right, we're live. Owners meeting today. Hold on, I have to, whatever. Yeah, so the owners meeting was today. Nothing really came out of it. That's surprising. Want to welcome everybody. Hey, thank you for showing up, Jack. Uh, I'm going to be doing a big board draft. I'm going to go ahead and jump in here in about 10 seconds. We'll be entering right now. Welcome back, Victor. Thank you, PPR Tyler, for showing up early. 4 more to start. Yeah, so the owners meeting, Tush Push did not get banned. We should not be surprised by that. It same thing happened last year. People talked about it. A lot of people don't like it. That's going to be the case every year, probably for a while. So, yeah, it feels like it is. I For some reason, whenever I use Streamlabs to post these, it's been labeling it as entertainment. Like I'll select sports and it will switch it to entertainment category. I don't know why. And then I have to go in and switch it during the stream for some reason. There we go. I'm probably doing something a little wrong. Still brand new to this. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody's seen the yeah, I'm gonna guess that it's easier to fill at 3 p.m. than it is at 1 a.m. And yeah, so Matthew Barry had a tweet earlier. Kind of scares me a little bit being zero CMC. Thank you for showing up, Bindles. Apparently, whenever I switched it back over to sports, it's gonna make me change this up. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've had it for a while. It's I uh I shaved daily for like 6 years doing a like leadership development style thing. And as soon as I stopped doing that, I have not shaved since. That's been 5 or 6 years. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly like so when I really started it, I had pneumonia and I didn't shave for like the 2 weeks that I had it. And by time that I was over it, it didn't itch anymore, so I just never shaved it again. And I always kind of wanted a little bit of a beard, so worked out. All right, so we're at the 9 hole. I'm not sure if anybody is in here. If you are, just shout out. PPR Tyler's here. Thank you for the shout outs. Appreciated. Yep, the crew's starting to filter in. Yeah, so with the CMC thing, when the Matthew Berry thing definitely worries me a little bit, being not on CMC at all. Like the same source that told him that Debo was going to be traded and that Mason might is very likely to get traded as well. That person said that the Niners say CMC is 100% healthy. I'm sure a lot of you seen that, but that that means that at the 12-13 he's probably a decent pick. I still will want Genty or Bowers for sure and London. I might mix him in now a little bit because if that's true, yeah, it Matthew Berry tweeted that out. It was him and another guy, and like they're going to have a much worse defense. That team is going to score a whole bunch of points. So yeah, that's a better spot than I'm at. I'm at 0. So I still think that I'll wait. Like I'll take a share here and there, but I'm not too worried. I've already kind of made my bed in this tournament. After the draft, I could probably take some shares. I have 35 drafts left. I might just go ahead and ride it out. I'll probably move him up to where Jonathan Taylor goes, and if he's there at 17, 18, take him. Oh yeah, you absolutely called that. I wasn't strong enough to make the bet. I looked at it, thought about it, didn't end up doing it. All right, so got a little bit of a fall on Puka here. I still have Puka as my wide receiver. I have him as my wide receiver 3. I that spot's bounced around. It's been CD, it's been Nico, but it's always been one of those players. Who are we talking about with the potential playoff matchup? Yeah, this chair was expensive. It was like $480. I I used to be much larger than I am, and it was hard to find a chair big enough to fit me. So I and I spend most of my time sitting here. I also game, so if I'm going to spend a lot of time in it, I might as well spend a bunch of money and be comfortable. Yeah, well, I will definitely take some Brock Bowers here. Puka and Brock Bowers. That's a lot of targets, most likely. Locking up tight end. Yeah, the CMC, like if that information's correct and that source is accurate, like it's pretty damning for 0%. Hey, well, hey, thank you for stopping by, uh, and good luck. Yeah, I'll talk to you about it eventually. CMC feels like it goes really good or really bad, no middle. Correct. I and my whole thing with drafting CMC this whole time has been sorry, I need to bring the board up. Chase I had not noticed this. There's getting unique and then there's whatever this is. I guess this player is what trying to burrow his team. Yeah, I like I've never thought it was a I've never thought that the CMC pick was awful. I wasn't wanting to make it. I still think like to embrace the risk that I thought about with him being possibly hurt here. Like he has to outscore Genty by a lot for that risk to have mattered, right? And same with Henry and Achan. Like he has to massively outscore all of those players for that to be worth the injury risk, assuming he might not be healthy. I mean, I've seen stuff like this not get thrown out. Like he might start drafting by ADP by like 54, and it like it's not like I mean Chase Brown is one round above. When this thing launched, Chase Brown was going at like 27, 28. The Burrow pick's bad, but still have to have a few more awful picks for this thing to possibly get thrown out. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It takes a lot more. Welcome back, Gamblestein. I followed a couple of those NHL bets, so I'm hoping those all work out. Other than what is that, the 6 hole? Everything looks pretty reasonable. Yeah, and I'm not sure what they do exactly, but like, and I mean, he's a red badge, so, and I mean, I know that doesn't really mean anything because he could have got that playing pick'ems or daily tournaments in NBA or whatever. So, you tweeted two of them. I followed 5 of the bets total. I think I didn't follow the Florida one, and I didn't follow the 60-minute one. Well, I mean, this is the moment of truth. He's on the clock again, so we will find out if there's a chance or if I'm just kind of wasting my time. Even if I'm just wasting my time, I guess it's not that bad. Like the chance that see Brees Hall, like that's a reasonable pick. If he gets back in line the rest of this draft, might have a chance. Trey McBride falls all the way back. Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, let's do it. You don't get very many chances. I'm not going to say this is good, but I I like it. That it's Brock Bowers doesn't fall to 16 plus much anymore. McBride rarely falls back pick 30. Getting them on the same team is going to be fairly unique. So, because I believe this is going to be unique, unless people like pull them up to 12, 13, I'm willing to do it. And I can basically never look at tight end again. James Young. I don't see what the appeal is for CMC. He's already priced near his ceiling, so there's no reward for drafting him unless he's a top 3 overall. Absolutely. I've said this a few times in some of my previous videos. If he doesn't outscore the Gibbs, Bijan, Saquon, Genty, all them by like 2 points a game, 1 or 2 points a game, or if he doesn't have like a 35-point game in the playoffs, like fading him isn't going to be that bad because you're not taking that injury risk. And I could be wrong. Like a lot of sharp people like him as a pick. So, and Lamar and Jaden come back. Do I just I feel like Lamar is the right pick. I think this might get ugly, but I think Lamar's the right pick. If I can land Stafford later, it will mean that I can have 7 running backs and 8 wide receivers, or 8 receivers and 8 running backs. Well, I did not do that. So we'll see how this plays out. I didn't expect Lamar to also fall. Um, yeah, I I really don't know if it's the right call to fade him, but it is the path I chose. CMC probably my least favorite pick on the board besides Anthony Richardson. I Yeah, you really just like Anthony Richardson. CMC is the second easiest fade on the board to me next to Travis Hunter. I'm actually very in on Travis Hunter. And I probably did need a wide receiver. If Worthy was there, I would have definitely taken Worthy. I feel like there's a tier break at Worthy and all the way up at wide receiver, and I feel like it's a pretty decent sized tier or gap. Um, and I'll probably go one wide receiver here and one wide receiver, and then the next one it might be a running back, might be a receiver. Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people really like Hunter. I Hunter's price is to the point now that I'm probably not clicking him as much because he's moved all the way up to like the 80s. Honestly, I have taken him a few times just because we know he has running back potential, and every running back has a risk. Correct. Yeah, and right, like Maddock has said, and other people have said, like the Rob or Coakley, I think his name Rob Coakley, Spike Week. He they both have said you basically want to pick a lane, like go 0 or go 20%. Like if you're in, you should be in. If you're not, just don't be. I don't know if that's right. I think every draft should just be its own little thing. And you should draft the best possible team you can in each draft with the information you have at that time. So even if you were full fade on somebody, it doesn't mean put like I don't want to push that player all the way up just to get even with him. I want to take the draft as it comes, try to take values if I can. Tough to click Hunter once he was in the low 90s. I have a very hard time taking him over Egbuka and Golden myself. Lots of hints that Hunter is going to play primarily DB, and if he gets offensive package, what's the point of drafting 4 or 5 snaps per game for the Browns Pets? I've heard like the Browns have said that they definitely want to play him on offense. I That's what I've heard a bunch. Patriots will probably use him on both sides, and I mean, I don't know what an NFL team's going to do. If it were me, I would play him on just offense or just defense year 1, and then year 2, and maybe sprinkle in some plays. And then the next year, after he's learned one side of the ball, let him fully go into another side if you plan on playing him that much. All right, so I should probably. I don't know here. I'm not a huge fan of Waddle, and I think that the Chuba price is pretty bad right now. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try a not so popular approach here. Oh yeah, nice call out on Hertz. Yeah, he fell quite a bit, and with the news of the tush push today, which we should have expected. Yeah, with CD, a balanced approach is. I mean, it's probably the smartest way to play. I like my player takes, and I'm hoping I don't get buried in this draft. I'm probably going to force receiver the next few rounds, no matter what happens. I'm pretty I'm pretty high on Calvin Ridley this year. Everything I see, like especially if they get Cam Ward, I really like what he brings. Like he had a couple really big games last year, and it's pretty hard to get worse quarterback play than they had last year. Like the Raiders and the Titans last year were competing for one of the worst quarterback rooms of all time. And I guess the Browns were also in that race for some of the worst quarterback play ever. Well, luckily, got somebody I like here. Probably get another wide receiver. Like Golden, Igbuka, and Burden usually fall down around there. This may be a team that I'll take a player that I'm not a huge fan of, but I'm starting to get a little more into, and that's Brandon Ayuk. I I've been fading like he's supposedly going to be ready early in the season, and this team's going to need to hit on a wide receiver pretty heavy. And if he's available at 81, I'll probably take that swing because this team needs that swing. Unless like Golden or Igbuka is still there, I might take one of them. So far, Puka, Bowers, McBride, Lamar, Chuba, Ridley. I know Gamblestein's probably not a big fan of this. Like that might have needed to be JMO. I think I personally Lamar Lamar and Bateman versus JMO. Like if I get Bateman where I would have got Goff, I think I like Lamar Bateman over JMO Goff. Not saying that that will be a 2v2 that happens there, but I actually really like Rashad Bateman. He played very well last year. Love this team. When I was talking about balance, I was referring back to the CMC thing. Yeah, I knew what you meant. Like even exposures try to be between 6 and 8 to 12% probably of most players. I mean, that would have been probably a good thing to do as well. But how often? I mean, Lamar doesn't make it to pick 40. Like I rarely see him in pick 40. So we'll see how it plays out. Definitely a chance I can get shut out here, but I feel like it'll come together. I like a lot of the later receivers, like Adam Thielen, a couple of the older guys to help supplement. So hopefully I can get one of the rookies here, and then somebody falls to 88 as well. Ricky Pearsall, I really like that pick. I think it's possible that all three of the Niners, Pearsall, Juwan Jennings and Ayuk all work out. Like, you're only paying a 6th round pick for two of them, and then a 7 or 8. So Cooper Kupp goes. That's a positive thing for me. So I'm going to get one of those two players. I think I will go Golden. And then one of Egbuka, Ayuk, Burden, Hunter, Downs, Shakir should make it back. And Shakir's the one I wanted the least. Why did this guy go Bo Nix? That's a unique pick. Bo Nix has been falling a lot, which I love because I like Bo Nix, especially in the 9th round. I really like what the player in the 12 hole has done. Genty, Nico, Adams, Hampton, Waddle, Walker, Egbuka, Burden. That looks like something I draft often. Like that's probably almost exactly what I would have done with those picks. So got the exact player I wanted back. Brandon Ayuk. That was the number one player I wanted there. And if I didn't get him, I might have actually brought up Diggs instead of Downs. I'm not sure which decision I would have made. There's a couple more receivers that I could like at 105. So I think we actually have a chance to build ourselves out of this receiver hole. It's not insanely strong by any means, but hopefully we're flexing a tight end quite a bit of the season, right? Like that's the goal here is flexing a tight end. And it also ping ponging, like if this team makes it to the playoff weeks, if they ping pong weeks of being the number one tight end, like they have potential to completely outscore other tight ends. So we have Mark Andrews has kind of been steady now around the 8-9 turn. I really like him. I think that there was rumors they were going to trade him early. I didn't fully buy into him getting traded, but I also worried about it a little bit. So whenever he ended up getting the vote of confidence to go back, like he stabilized up where he was getting drafted before, and that's probably where he needs to go. Like Andrews here, Kelsey in the next round. That has to feel pretty fine. If not saying that's what this player is going to do, but like you get two of the best tight ends in the league 2 years ago. Oh my, hey, sorry my chat wasn't updating. Thanks for stopping by, Tom. If you don't know Tom, he's at the Fantasy Sanctuary. Give them a follow. And Best Ball on Call also has a channel. If you do not know them, also give them a follow, especially if you like drafting past midnight. Last night, I took a 3-hour nap, couldn't sleep, looked at my phone, and somebody was alive drafting Best Ball. And it was this guy right here, Best Ball on Call. Talk about a quarterback run. Caleb Williams, Fields, Murray, Goff. This do they have it? They have Jaden. Jaden fell all the way back there. Where did the Terry McLaurin drafter passed on Jaden Daniels? Steph Diggs here would have been fantastic. So I could go Mooney here, but I think I just want to pull up Scatabo, get my running back 2. And then hopefully there's a player I want to come back around. And if they make it back around, I'll feel pretty okay about how I've kind of built out of this. Yeah, so going to Calvin Ridley, we'll look at my little sheet here. So he was only wide receiver 40 overall last year, but if you this column right here is nuclear weeks, which is I believe 23 plus points. So he had 2 weeks that were gigantic spikes, 4 that were over 17 points. And that's a pretty good amount of things for being at pick 64. Rashad Bateman went. That's who I wanted. That's fine. We can take Marvin Mims. Or do I want to take Charbonnet or Robinson? Might think I'll go ahead and take Mims. There's a world where he winds up with Giants and they have lost the season by week 10. They just put him in and let Jameis sling it. Who are we talking about? I must have missed. Must have missed that. So Zach Charbonnet was the other player I was going to pick. Like, I don't have a lot of Charbonnet. Getting him as a third running back would have felt fine. I kind of like the wide receivers in rounds 12 and 13 a little more than the running backs. I still need to dig out from wide receiver a little bit, though. And also from running back. This could absolutely be a Jerome Ford team. So beast mode here. He took a naked Brock Purdy, but has Debo stacked with Jaden Daniels. Okay, yeah. Yeah. I think his potential upside is worth a 9th round pick. An 8th round pick, maybe. Like, the risk is like his potential upside is being drafted in round 4, right? Like being drafted up here with JMO, like up in this area. Like if we knew he was going to only play wide receiver, he would probably be drafted around Xavier Worthy. That's what I believe. So getting that value or that potential value is massive. So, and I also believe that the Browns, the Giants, the Patriots, and the Jags would all use him at wide receiver more than at corner. If they were going to play him at both, he would main as a wide receiver and play some corner. I don't know how they would do that, considering that corner, like, it would be hard to learn all the zones and all that and all the packages, like the defensive packages. It would take a while. That's why I would wait an entire year to try him on whatever the second side of the ball is. But NFL teams want immediate production. So we'll see if they allow him to learn one side of the ball this year and then another the next year. And if they're gonna like sprinkling him in on offense would make more sense. You could give him the same routes over and over again. Like I think at Colorado he ran a lot of curls and slants or something. There were two routes he ran like way more than the rest of the routes. And they could definitely do something like that. And if that happens, he is absolutely right. And Travis Hunter is not a good pick. But we're out here gambling, so trying to make a 20 leg parlay in this tournament. This is like Travis Hunter is throwing in a plus 340 into that mix, right? Trying to boost your outcome. That's how I look at it. I would love either one of these two players, Tank Bigsby or Jaden Higgins here. I'm going to go ahead and take Tank. And then if Higgins makes it back, we'll take him. If not, we'll think about what we're going to do. So I do need a quarterback too. Where is Devontae Adams? I believe he was drafted by the player in the 12 hole. He was. So if he makes it past this turn, hopefully I can push him back around to 153. If Higgins goes, oh, he doesn't want him at all. I mean, yeah, and like worst case, I can add Derek Carr at the end or something. But I still need to build out from wide receiver a little bit. We'll take Jaden Higgins. We'll go over the team real quick. Lamar Jackson, no stacks. Bateman got pulled up. Chuba Hubbard, Scatabo, Tank Bigsby, Puka Nakua, Calvin Ridley, Matthew Golden, Brandon Ayuk, Marvin Mims, Jaden Higgins, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride. I think my wide receivers are actually fine now. If Higgins is what we think he is, and if Golden's what I think he is, this is a serviceable room. This may be the only team in the entire tournament that I actually look at DeAndre Hopkins. Like if he's available at like 190. I'm going to guess that this player in the 6 hole is a big DeAndre Hopkins fan, though. I don't know. I feel like taking Joe Burrow in the first and Chase Brown in the second and Joe Mixon in the fourth. I just feel like you like D Hop as well. We'll see if I'm right there. That's my guess. So McCarthy goes. I know that Hawkinson was over here. Jefferson's over there. He got Addison. So what did you do with Bo Nix? Maybe he was hoping that. Maybe I didn't realize I took Mims from the Bo Nix drafter. He was probably a little sad Jerome Ford, I don't I don't have a lot of him, but he feels every time I take him, it feels pretty good. And this is the kind of team that could use him. So today we'll only be doing one draft. I have something going on right after this, so same thing you talked about in your stream. You sniped accidentally. Yeah, yeah. I right, like it wasn't like an intentional thing. I really like Marvin Mims, and I absolutely wanted Bateman over Mims with Lamar. Yeah, Nick's Mims, like I probably have more Nick's Mims teams than I have Nick Sutton teams. Another quarterback goes off the board. I think my quarterback is the next highest ranked one available. What is going on? The Joe Burrow drafter needs a second quarterback. I don't feel great about this. Definitely don't feel great about this. Other than that, the other two drafters seem to be drafting in ways that make sense, and I feel pretty good about them getting past Spitz and Uncle Sam. This pick right here, this is the one that's going to get me. I can feel it. So I was watching Chess Liam earlier, and he was talking about Leggett versus Coker and Thielen. He tends to like Leggett because of the draft capital, which I totally understand. I I personally have them all kind of the same. MS. Yeah. Yep. There he goes. I called it. Sometimes things are just written. So we'll go ahead and go with Bryce Young. Just get that last quarterback. You hate to see the snipe, but it was kind of obvious that it was going to happen. And I do not like this draft now. I got sniped on Stafford. Bryce Young, if I take a wide receiver to pair with him, I'm going to have I'm going to be very thin at running back. Like very thin at running back. And I don't have the ability to take Jatavian Sanders at the end of this draft. The other option was to take Geno Smith or A Rich or I mean, I guess A Rich was the call. So, do I take there are two Carolina receivers available still. Uh I think I just go ahead and take a running back and see what happens. I mean, this team right now, like we're hoping that the Panthers in round 2 draft Jaden Higgins. Thielen is the one when you take one. Yeah, I probably I don't know. I definitely kind of butchered this team a little bit. I would have felt really good about this if Bateman made it back and Stafford didn't get sniped. Like the Stafford pick really hurt. That's the one. Like even without the Bateman, like if Stafford makes it back, I feel fine about what I have here, and then I don't feel bad about passing Thielen and Coker down the line, right? So I think I just take Bryce. He has some rushing upside, and then Sampson, I do believe was the right call. Um, and then just hope that one of these two rookie receivers that I have, and I'll probably add a couple more, that one of them end up with one of these quarterbacks. But both of these quarterbacks have some rushing upside, so having them naked isn't the end of the world. Having naked Matt Stafford is probably not the best decision. Now, I mean, he could take Higbee and Whittington at the end of this draft. Alec Pierce is a player I really like. He had some pretty good spike weeks last year. And with like you're basically getting him for free at 160. I still can't get behind Josh Palmer. I don't know what it is about Josh Palmer, but I can't do it. And like this draft, if I would have went with DJ Moore over Trey McBride, everything would feel a lot better. I went for uniqueness with the two elite tight ends. Something I think is going to be very rare. It just doesn't have a chance to happen too often. Roster construction wise, I probably should have went DJ Moore over McBride, and the rest of this draft goes much better. I don't regret the Lamar over Devontae Smith. I feel like that was fine. Although that meant that the only wide receiver I could pair, and maybe that's what I should have done. I probably should have just taken Bateman here where Scatabo was. If I would have taken Bateman there and then been okay with Scatabo, Charbonnet, or Brian Robinson coming back, I probably would have liked this a lot more as well. So that's a mistake I made in this draft for sure. Jalen Coker goes. That's a really good spot on Jalen Coker, though. I would take him here if I needed a wide receiver. I do like the wide receivers at the back end of this draft quite a bit more. So that's another reason I wanted to take Sampson over Thielen and Coker with the stack. Hopefully, one of the only running backs I like is still left when it gets to me. I'm not sure though. Harvey and Giddens are available. 2 picks before me. Think I'll take Giddens on this team. Then by ADP, where is DeAndre Hopkins? He's at 188. If DeAndre Hopkins falls back to 201, I will take him. Yeah, that's what I tried. It didn't work. But with I don't like DeAndre Hopkins, so and he's Hopkins is probably actually a fine pick. I might take him here, but I do feel like after Eckler and Martinez that there's a gigantic gap at running back. So I'm probably going to go ahead and take one of those and then just fill in wide receivers later. So I have Giddens, Sampson, Scatabo, Bigsby, and Chuba. So I might need an adult in this room. Might take. Think I'm going to go ahead and take Eckler here. I had a lot of Eckler really early in the process. I definitely got away from that. I do think it feels fairly likely they draft a running back. He might get replaced, but you could say that with any running back after like Jonathan Taylor. Or, yeah, basically Jonathan Taylor, Bucky, in that range. Jacobs. Like anybody after Jacobs, like whenever you get to even Brees Hall, like they drafted people last year. Cook, Hampton, Chase Brown doesn't usually go there, so we can't count that. So let's look through the team, see what we have. We have Lamar Jackson, Bryce Young, Chuba, Scatabo, Bigsby, Sampson, Giddens, Eckler, Puka, Ridley, Matthew Golden, Brandon Ayuk, Marvin Mims, Jaden Higgins, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride. This is one of those teams that you try something and it doesn't quite work out the way you wanted it to. That's fine. That's why I do. That's why you do 150 of them, right? Hopkins goes, and I mean, maybe what I starting to wonder if you take a Carolina running back in every. Yeah, I mean they are commit. I guess I do have a Bryce Young stack. I forgot I have Chuba. So maybe I am winning. Maybe that's the stack I need. It'll be the lowest owned stack with Bryce. So yeah, and I think they're going to commit to the run in Carolina. I mean, they obviously want to run the ball a bunch. They took a running back that was injured last year in the second round when the new head coach come in. They restructured or they extended Chuba, and then whenever they know that Brooks probably isn't going to come back this year, so they did a 1 year deal to a reasonable NFL caliber running back. Like I think Dowdle gets a lot of hate. He's very serviceable as an NFL running back. And I don't get why people dislike Rico Dowdle as much as they do. Chuba goes high and Rico low. They'll run the ball. Yeah. And the only issue with that is their defense is pretty bad. And if they're behind, they might not be able to run that often. But you would think that at the end of last year, too. And Chuba had some pretty good games against some fairly good teams, if I remember right, near down the stretch. Kareem Hunt, 196. I can't bring myself to take any of these Chiefs running backs this year. I I think it's extremely likely they end up taking a guy in the draft pretty early. Well, Martinez is still on the board. If he's here, I will absolutely take him as running back 7. Yeah, we'll do that. And then add 3 wide receivers at the end of this. I think that's a serviceable running back room. Started late, took one guy, and then a whole bunch of darts. Wide receiver is going to be a little weak, but my tight ends are going to be incredibly strong. Got Dyami Brown to. Yeah, I don't know. Did this person have a. Hoagie here was drafting pretty well the whole draft and then took naked Trevor Lawrence and never stacked him. So I wonder if he was wanting Dyami Brown. Wide wide receiver room can make a late season push. Yeah, it could. And that's why I said I had to take an Ayuk on this team. And take a couple rookies. And if there's a rookie available here, if Royals makes it, I'm just absolutely taking him. I have too much Restrepo already. I don't want to have to take him as a dart. Um, yeah, I kind of figured that would happen. I don't have very much Darius Slayton. Um, Wilson. Yeah, we'll go ahead and he with McBride. I'm actually pretty low on Michael Wilson. That's a good shout out though. For some reason, it didn't log me into Spike Week, it's fine. Getting some guaranteed production down here at the end. Slayton always has a few Spike Weeks at the end of the year. And then some of our favorite players. I'm going to take some big shot guys here at the end. Like if Savion's available, I'll take him. But there's a bunch of big play guys that I kind of like at the end of the draft. So I think that this will be doable. I guess I could take Devontae Walker, who nobody has, but I'm probably not going to do that. I had a little bit too much Devontae last year, and it definitely did not work. So I don't really want to go down that path again, especially after Lamar threw 41 touchdowns last year, and Tez barely seen the field. I think Devontae had 1 touchdown at the very end of the season. Yeah. 1 reception, 21 yards, and 1 touchdown. I mean, year 2 breakout's a thing, but you can't really say that the DeAndre Hopkins signing would stop them from progressing with him because DeAndre Hopkins ended up being the 4th wide receiver on the team. At the time that Hopkins was signed, the Ravens only had Zay Flowers, Bateman, and Devontae Walker on their roster at wide receiver. I don't think they've even signed. Maybe I've missed. I don't think they've signed another wide receiver since then. So they're probably going to do something or at least work with Devontae at some point. That doesn't mean I'm willing to take him even stacked. But if we start getting positive buzz on him during the post draft stuff, and if they don't draft anybody, that means that they like him a little bit. most of these names are players who usually do go. I always, I've said this before, but I like to scout the last rounds to see if there's a name that pops up that I need to look into. And this one seems pretty reasonable. And so Isaiah Bond here, I was pretty out on Bond for a long time because I thought that he needed to go around pick 200. And everybody's wish casting his 40 time. And if his 40, like, if his 40 time was what they expected, he might have moved up, but it's his ability to play that, like, I wasn't big on. I know it's hard to, like, I'm not a Quinn Ewers fan either, like, which makes it harder to scout Isaiah Bond. So, but at pick 200, a player who's probably going to get round 3 capital, I think he's worth a click in here. I have him after Royals and Io Manor, Noel, and Besh, but I think he's definitely worth a click. Restrepo goes, thankfully, so I don't have to take him. I would have taken him if he made it all the way back. Like, I had 20% whenever the 40 stuff come out, so I definitely need to chill and not take him that often. Although I don't think there's much to it. I think that if I didn't have much Restrepo, I'd be smashing him at this price. But I mean, easy to say when I liked him at the cheaper or at the more expensive price. So I think I want to go. What are we thinking? Couple rookies here. Try to get Savion and Torrey Horton. I think this team could benefit from the mega upside of Savion Williams. With my wide receiver core being like very serviceable, a couple guys that may not have. I mean, I guess they all kind of have spike week potential. Like all of them do. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. Is that they ping pong weeks. I do love MVS down here. Like I absolutely love MVS. And I might take MVS with this next pick. I actually have less. I'm only like 4% MVS. And I thought I would be higher than that. And he does have a division correlation with Ricky. You asked about Ricky White. I'm not on Ricky White. I took him a little bit before the draft, or before the combine. I just, but it was like a little bit. I think everybody loved him because he was a special teams monster. I don't, I don't know much about that, and I don't know that that matters that much. Like, yeah, they'll be active on game day. Maybe I mean, he has to be good at it in the NFL. Still. All right, so we'll go over the team. Let me know if you think I pulled this out or not. It was a little bit wild. So, well, Lamar Jackson, Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard, Cam Scatabo, Tank Bigsby, Dylan Sampson, DJ Giddens, Eckler, Damian Martinez. Wide receivers, Puka, Calvin Ridley, Matthew Golden, Brandon Ayuk, Marvin Mims, Jaden Higgins, Darius Slayton, Savion Williams, MVS. Tight ends, Bowers and McBride. It could have been worse. It could have definitely been better. The naked Matt Stafford snipe into giving me Bryce Young felt kind of bad. Not being able to get Bateman back. I mean, I like Bateman at and around ADP, and that's exactly where he went. I sometimes take him up here unstacked myself, so I think that's perfectly fine. It's just kind of sad it didn't work out for me. You wonder if he ends up with the Panthers. Who are we talking about? Savion? I think it's very likely Savion ends up with Arthur Smith. Myself, but oh, Ricky White. Okay, I don't know why you think that. Maybe it's combine visits, stuff like that. I haven't heard anything about like really positive about Ricky White. So like I know the best ball community had a buzz about Ricky for a little bit, and I never really understood it. Like I took it a little bit. I actually took him on a couple drafters teams, and I didn't take him very much in these tournaments. Like I just feel like, and I don't know, I feel like if he was going to work in the NFL, he'd be kind of a PPR scam guy. Maybe I'm completely wrong with that. I didn't watch a whole lot of him. I just seen a little bit, and what I seen made me think that that's kind of what he would do. Maybe he can get loose. Not really sure about it. But anyway, thank you all for coming out. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to do 3 p.m. Central or 4 p.m. Central. Uh, Let me know in the comments if you if there's a time that works best for the people who are watching. And also, if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do so if you enjoyed. Thanks, everybody.